Hello dear students, in our last part of video, we have seen that acids and bases, they have completely different properties from each other. Whenever they come in contact with each other, they neutralizes each other's property. That means acids and bases, they have completely opposite properties. But still I will say there is something common between acid and base. Isn't it interesting? So in today's video, we'll be discussing what is common in acids and base. So today's topic is what do all acids and all bases have in common? Any acid or base, when it is dissolved in water, it ionizes, or I will say dissociate. For example, let us consider HA is an acid. When it is dissolved in water, it will release H plus ions and A minus. That means this part will split. This H plus is called as ionizable hydrogen or replaceable hydrogen. This H plus cannot survive alone. Hydrogen, it has only one electron in the outermost shell. If it loses that electron also, it will form then H plus. And therefore H plus cannot exist alone. It will combine with H2O and will form H3O plus. So now overall this reaction I will write as HA is an example of any acid. When it is dissolved in water, it will form H3O plus and A minus. This H3O plus is called as hydronium ion. Now let us consider base. For example, NaOH. Now suppose NaOH, it is dissolved in water. Then it will dissociate into Na plus and OH minus. OH minus, it is called as hydroxyl ion. So what is common in acid and base? Whenever acid and base, it is dissolved in water, they will dissociate, they will ionize. Acids will form hydronium ion and bases will form hydroxyl ion. Now the question is, acids, do they have only H plus? Base, do they have only OH minus? The thing is that acid and base both releases H plus and OH minus ions. The only difference is that acid will have more amount of H plus ion, whereas base, they will have less amount of H plus ion, or I will say bases will have more amount of hydroxyl ion. So this is the common thing between acid and base, that both dissociates, and on dissociation they produce hydronium ion. If they produce more amount of hydronium ion, it is acid. If they produce less amount of hydronium ion, then it will be basic in nature. That means here I am talking about dilution process. Whenever we are adding whenever we are adding water to a concentrated acid or base, we call it as a dilution process. Okay, now when we carry out dilution process of acid and base, they produces ion. Okay, that thing is clear to us. Now what is the impact of these ions on the conducting nature and strength of acid or base? That means using this amount of H3O plus or OH minus can we decide that a given acid is a strong acid or given base is a weak base, etc. And then these ions will also will have impact on the conducting nature. But before that, I want to explain you this dilution process. Dilution of acids. How do we carry out dilution? How do we add water to acid? Now this topic I will mark it as very important. Many times question is framed based on this topic. 3 mark question can be asked. 1 mark question can be also asked based on this topic. So I will mark this topic as an important one. Dilution of acid. Whenever we have to carry dilution, then there are two ways. Either we add water to acid or we add acid to water. Now the question is, what the difference does it make? Whether we add water to acid or acid to water, both are one and the same thing? No, it is not like that. If you add water to acid, this dilution process is exothermic in nature. And therefore what happens? A lot of heat is produced. We call it as local excessive heating. And due to this local excessive heating, the container in which we are carrying out dilution process, the container may break and acid will splash on our body. So it's a dangerous process. And therefore we are not supposed to add water to acid. Remember, a big no on this. We are not supposed to add water to acid, but we have to add acid to water with constant stirring. Now what happens when we are adding acid to water? Due to constant stirring, it helps to absorb heat uniformly. And that local excessive heating will not occur, the container will not break, and overall this process will be a safe process. So remember, what is the main concept in this? Not water to acid, but acid to water. For this it's a big yes. Okay, now coming back to the topic, I said due to dilution acids will release H plus. For example, HCl plus H2O will form H3O plus and OH minus. Cl minus. Potassium hydroxide when dissolved in water will form K plus and OH minus. So what is the impact of these ions on the conducting nature? Now whenever we speak about conducting nature, that means we speak about whether it will conduct electricity or not. Okay, let us take an example. To explain the impact of ions on the conducting nature, I have shown here one diagram. Here I have created one circuit, and in container, suppose I have taken acid such as HCl, aqueous solution. Okay. Now when we switch on, we pass on the electric current. As soon as HCl is dissolved in water, hydronium ion will be produced. And from the basic knowledge, we know that ions are the charges responsible for the conduction of electricity. Since the charges are produced, since the ions are produced, it will conduct electricity and this bulb will glow. The bulb will glow. So whether you take acid such as HCl or H2SO4, in both cases the bulb will glow. Why? Because they will dissociate, they will ionize, producing hydronium ion. Suppose you have taken base instead of HCl, H2SO4, you have taken base such as sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide, then also the bulb will glow. Why? Because both these will dissociate to form hydroxyl ion, and whenever ions are there, whenever charges are there, they will conduct the electricity. Suppose now here instead of HCl and H2SO4, or instead of this sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, I have taken a solution of glucose, then will the bulb glow now? Just think on the question. Whenever I am taking the aqueous solution of glucose, the bulb will not glow. The bulb will not glow, indicating no electricity, no flow of current. Now why there is no flow of current? Because glucose do not have this ionizable or replaceable hydrogen. It do not dissociate, it do not ionizes, and therefore bulb will not glow, there will be no flow of electric current. Now this whole activity is asked for 3 mark. That when HCl is when we are passing electric current through aqueous solution of HCl, the bulb glows or there is a flow of electric current, but not in case of glucose. Why? I hope the activity is clear to you. So now we will move on to the next topic, that is what is the impact of hydronium ion on the strength. How the amount of hydronium ion produced will impact on the strength. That means how can we decide whether the given acid or base will be a strong acid or weak acid. A very simple concept, that more the amount of H plus produced, then it will be a stronger acid. Less the amount of H plus produced, then I will say it will be basic in nature. Okay, or I can say it is weakly acidic, or even I can say more the amount of OH minus produced, stronger will be base, or weak will be acid, weak will be basic. So the amount of H plus decides whether the acid is stronger or no. So I will say the concentration of H plus produced in the solution after dilution, how can we measure that? That is measured by a scale called as pH. So now comes the important, very important concept, pH. Now here word P stands for power. Power of H, that is power of H plus ions. Okay. Now if I talk about the definition of pH, in a general way I told you that concentration of H, it is measured by a scale called as pH. But we have to write proper definition in our board exam. So what is the definition of pH? It is the negative logarithm of hydrogen ion concentration. Right now you just need to know this definition. We don't require much details about this. Just you have to remember this formula. Okay. Now as I told you, it is measured by using a scale. Now this scale, this pH scale has units from 0 to 14. As I told you just now, the pH scale has a range of 0 to 14. We can divide it in two parts, 0 to 7 and 7 to 14. The left side is acidic. That means all those solutions which shows pH between 0 to 7, they are acidic in nature. All those solutions which shows pH 7 to 14, they are basic in nature. But now we have categories in this. Suppose the solution has pH in the range of, let's say 0, 1, 2, 3. Then this part I will say, then it will be strongly acidic. For example, HCl. It is strongly acidic in nature and its pH is 0. Okay, as we move ahead, 4, 5, then there I will say it is moderately acidic. For example, tomato juice. It has pH near about 4 to 5, I'll say. And those which have pH 5 to 6, they will be weakly acidic. For example, saliva. Saliva has pH equal to 6. Those which have pH 7, they are neutral. For example, pure water. Pure water has pH 7. Now when we move towards right side of the pH scale, the basic strength increases. Those who have pH let's say 6, 7, they will be weakly basic. So here we have weakly basic. For example, baking soda. Baking soda has pH 9. Now those which have pH greater than 9, 9, 10, 11, 12, they will be called as moderately basic. For example, ammonia, its pH is 11. Now those who have pH higher than 11, let's say 12, 13, 14, they are strongly basic in nature. For example, sodium hydroxide, whose pH is 40. So we have studied strongly acidic, moderately acidic, weakly acidic, weak base, moderate base, strong base, and how can we decide it? With the help of pH. pH means how much hydrogen ion they are producing. As we move towards left, I will say acidic character increases. When we move towards right, I will say basic character increases. The same I can put it in another words. Here the basic strength decreases, here acidic strength decreases. Now the question is how to measure the pH of a given solution. pH of any solution is measured with the help of pH paper. Now whatever solution we need to test, we put a drop of that solution on pH paper. pH paper, then it changes its color. And then accordingly, by matching it with standard pH, we can get the idea about the pH of solution. For example, suppose the pH paper turns its color to violet. That means the pH is 14. Suppose the pH changes its color to green. Then the pH is 7. Suppose the pH paper changes the color to red. That means pH is 0. So I will say it's a range of Vibgoyer for the decreasing order. Okay. Some more example like baking soda, which is a sodium hydrogen carbonate with pH 9. It changes the color of pH paper to blue. One more example. Blood. Blood has pH 7.4, and when we put a drop of blood on pH paper, it changes its color to greenish blue. So I will say you simply remember the Vibgoyer range and you will be able to remember pH. Now these questions are asked that how suppose means color of pH paper will be given to you, and then you will be asked to identify whether it is acidic or basic. This table will help you to identify the color and the nature of the solution. For example, if the pH paper shows green color, it will have pH 7 and it will be neutral in nature. After dropping a drop of solution on pH paper, if the pH paper changes its color to orange, then it will be acidic in nature with pH in the range of 3 to 4. But remember the thing that H plus ions will be released only in presence of water. That means the acidic character will be shown only in presence of water. So I will say acidic character is shown only in presence of water. If water is absent, if it is in dry state, then ionization will not take place, H plus will not release, and you will not get the litmus test or you will not get the pH test, and therefore presence of moisture is very much necessary for H plus ions. So today we have learnt about the basic concepts of pH. Now using these concepts, try to solve some questions on your own. So here it is a task for you people. Try to solve these questions on your own. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.